Hello students, how are you all? So today we are going to start chapter 7 of our history, which is urban change under colonialism. In this chapter you will study about urbanization during the ancient and medieval period, deurbanization during the British rule, reurbanization during the British rule, urbanization of Calcutta and Delhi, urbanization during the ancient and medieval period. The excavation sites of Indus Valley civilization show that sites India had well-planned towns and cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro around 4500 years ago. During the medieval period also, the regional kingdoms and the rulers of Delhi Sultanate and Mughal Empire contributed to the development of already existing towns and cities, though in some areas new towns and cities were also developed. The Mughal architectural splendors, beautiful buildings as well as new towns. Deurbanization during the British rule. At the end of the 18th century, the British Company had succeeded in gaining control over most part of the Indian subcontinent. With the help of their wrong policy towards Indian craftsmen and traders, they succeeded in destroying the Indian craft and trade completely. Towns and cities, which were main trading centers during the ancient and medieval period, had lost their importance and only their signs were left to be seen. The process of destruction of old towns and cities is called deurbanization. Unfortunately, deurbanization was a significant development during the British rule in India. The East India Company established trading centers which were called factories. The British Company or factories grew in size and number. Many ancient towns and cities were destroyed or abandoned. The original clusters of fishing villages, Madras and Calcutta, or series of islands, Bombay, became the headquarters of British administrative zones or presidencies, as they generally came to be known as the factories, and their immediate surroundings, known as White Town, represented the actual and symbolic preeminence of the British in the terms of their political power as well as their cultural values and social practices. At the same time, their Indian collaborators lived in the Black Town, separated from the factories by several kilometers. The main focus of urban development came to be centered on the three port towns Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. Many towns that had been popular earlier for some specialized goods lost their glory with the decline in demand for their products. The old trading centers and ports were replaced by new trade centers. Deurbanization during the 19th century ended the important cities of Surat, Masulipatam, and Sringeri-Patnam. Moreover, the rapid expansion of British power in India ended the power of regional kingdom, which were great centers of administration. Reurbanization during the British rule. The British wanted India to be restricted to the position of an agricultural country. All efforts were made to destroy the crafts and industries. As a result, many villages, towns, and cities lost their importance. Most of the craftsmen, small businessmen, and farmers also became unemployed. They moved to the newer places in search of employment and other opportunities to make a living, and some new centers of activity came up. Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras were made centers of British power in three directions of India, known as the Presidency towns. Other new towns that emerged in the late 18th century under the British rule were: first, new port cities such as Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras replaced Surat, Goa, and Seringapatam, Cochin, and Chittagong. Second, new interior cities like Delhi and Chandigarh. And third, hill stations like Shimla, Mussoorie, Nainital, Darjeeling, and Ooty. This is the image of Calcutta in the first half of 19th century. New cities were well planned with good roads, streets, parks, sewage, shop, playgrounds, and theatres. Urbanization of Calcutta. Calcutta, the capital city of the British, was divided into two parts. First, White Town, and second, Black Town. British areas was the White Town and the Indians lived in the Black Town. Black towns were congested, whereas the White towns had sprawling bungalows and wide open spaces. The speedy industrial growth from 1850s in Calcutta, especially in the field of textile and jute, attracted British investment. They started building infrastructure facilities like railways, roads, and telegraph lines. Henceforth, the population and employment opportunities of Calcutta increased tremendously. The local manufacturing centers declined. The ruin of Indian handicrafts was reflected in the ruin of the towns and cities which were famous for their manufactured product. The urbanization that occurred during the British period was decline and decreasing population of the old urban centers, rapid growth of new cities and towns such as Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras to satisfy the needs of British commerce and administration. The old cities of Agra, Delhi, Murshidabad, Patna, and Hyderabad witnessed a decline or stagnation and were no longer the centers of political activities. Another reason of decline was the rechanneling of trade of new routes and networks. As the size and population of new urban area expanded, a need for urban local bodies arose. Hence, in 18th century, the Calcutta Municipal Corporation was established, but increasing political discontent all over India forced the British to relocate their capital to New Delhi in 1911 as it was more centrally located for administrative convenience. Urbanization of Delhi. History of Delhi goes back to the times of Mahabharat when the Kauravas and Pandavas fought for the city of Indraprasth, Delhi. Delhi also saw the rise and fall of many empires like the Mauryas and the Mughals. Delhi began to take the shape of a proper city with the beginning of the medieval period. The following are the generally regarded as the seven cities of Delhi. The first city was Lalkot or Kila Raj Pithora. It was built by the Tomars and expanded by the Chauhans and also by Kutubuddin Aibak. It was built by Alauddin Khilji and called Siri. The third was Tughlaqabad, built by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. The fourth was called Jahanpanah, means refugee of the world, built by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. The fifth was Firoz Shah Kotla, built by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. The sixth was built by Humayun, called Din Panha, means refugee of religion. The seventh was built by Shah Jahan, known as Shah Jahanabad. Shah Jahan began the construction of Shah Jahanabad in 1639. The city consisted of a fort palace complex and a residential area. A wall surrounded the city. There were 14 gates for entry into the city. Some that still stand are Lahori Gate, Delhi Gate, Ajmeri Gate, Kashmiri Gate, Turkman Gate, Kabuli Gate, Nigambodh Gate, and Mori Gate. Chandni Chowk was the most famous market of that time. Shah Jahan's daughter Jahanahara Begum established it. There was a canal running down the center of Chandni Chowk. It brought drinking water to the city. Shah Jahan also built the Jama Masjid in the city. The roof of the mosque had three domes with alternate stripes of black and white marbles with their topmost parts covered in gold. Nearly 25,000 people could offer prayers at the same time. It was the highest point in the city then. Shah Jahanabad was an important center of the Sufi culture. It had several dargahs and kankhas. Thousands of people visited the dargah of Khwaja Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya. Delhi in the 19th century defeated the Marathas and forced Peshwa Bajirao II to sign a subsidiary treaty, and Delhi fell into the hands of the British. The revolt of 1857 changed the situation. The sepoys reached Delhi on 11 May 1857 and declared Bahadur Shah Zafar the Emperor of India. Delhi was in the hands of sepoys for 4 months. By 20th September 1857, all the parts of Delhi was recaptured by the British. Important building became the barracks for British soldiers. Do you know? Ridge is the only forest of Delhi. Many buildings, bazaars and localities were demolished and some new structures were built. Delhi in the 20th century. In 1911, King George V was crowned in England. A grand darbar was held. The decision to shift the capital from Calcutta to Delhi was announced. Now being the capital, it was beautified. Civil line areas, now Delhi University and Old Secretariat were set up. This is the image of Old Secretariat, Delhi. The construction of the new capital was a massive task, and hence the construction and management could not be left to a local authority. Therefore, the Imperial Delhi Committee was formed in 1913. Later, the Chief Commissioner of Delhi created the Raisina Municipal Committee. Raisina Hill was selected for building the new capital, New Delhi. It became the residence of the Viceroy and the new administrative center. The English town planners, especially Edwin Lutyens, created the palace of Viceroy, now Rashtrapati Bhavan. This is the image of Parliament House. The New Delhi Municipal Committee (NDMC) was set up to look after all the services and activities like water supply, electricity, buildings, roads, sewers, medical and public health of the capital. It provided an underground sewer system in the whole area. All big open nalas were covered. Do you know? India Gate was built in the memory of 90,000 soldiers who died in First World War. This is the image of India Gate. In 1937, the Delhi Improvement Trust was established. It undertook many schemes like town expansion, slum clearance and slum improvement scheme for improvement of Delhi. After independence, the Government of India set up Delhi Development Authority in 1955, which was empowered to prepare master plan and zonal plan like housing, commercial centers, parks, playground, etc. to develop and manage lands in Delhi. Do you know the British made civil lines in all major towns and cities as they wanted to keep themselves away from the native residents. Master Plan for Delhi provides a basic policy frame for guiding Delhi's development. Police and administration in Delhi. An efficient administration required proper maintenance of law and order. In 1857, the British laid down the foundation of a systematic police system under Indian Police Act. Lord Cornwallis organized the police into regular forces. The superintendent of police looked after each district with the assistance of a deputy superintendent. The district was divided into thanas under darogas. Villages and towns were looked after by chowkidars and kotwals. In 1912, Delhi's first chief commissioner was appointed and handed over the duties and responsibilities of the Inspector General of Police. In 1946, Delhi Police was restructured with the appointment of Inspector General, Deputy Inspector General, and Superintendents. The police under the British were given low salaries but great powers. It made them cruel and corrupt. Railways under the British. Railways were introduced in India for the benefit of the British administration's political control and trade. It brought many changes in the lives of Indians. People from all over India came into close contact with each other. This communication brought about an awareness against social evils, need of education, and freedom from foreign exploitation. This is a picture of first train between Bombay and Thane. On April 6, 1853, the first train ran between Bombay to Thane. It ran 21 miles. It carried 14 railway carriages, 400 guests, and started its journey with a salute of 21 guns. The British introduced railway for mainly three aspects: commercial advantage, political aspect, defense aspect. Commercial advantage. Railways collected the raw material from fields and mines and sent them to the ports to be transported to England to feed the British industries. Political aspect. Railways safeguarded the possessions in different parts of India by quick movement of armed forces and administrative convenience. Defense aspect. Most importantly, the railways helped in the defense of British possessions in India from military attacks of other important countries who were trying to expand their influence. The Kalka Mail from Howrah to Kalka was introduced to make the annual migration of British officials, their families, and their servants and clerks from the imperial capital at Calcutta to the summer capital in Shimla. From Kalka, there is still a narrow gauge to Shimla that passes through 103 tunnels. One is not in use and only 102 tunnels are operational now. Do you know? Today, the Indian Railway has the world's largest railway network, along with the largest number of passengers, crowd, and employment opportunities. There was a lot of opposition against the railways in India, as people from all castes and religions had to sit together. This offended the people of higher caste. Moreover, Indians were not allowed to travel in first class. It was reserved for Europeans. But in any case, railway provided more avenues of profit making for the British. British impact on Indian painting, literature, and architecture. Art, architecture, painting, literature, poetry, drama, novels, and even Indian religion and philosophy were greatly influenced by the Western contact. Many English painters arrived here in search of princely patronage and to please the rich British society. Such paintings had themes of Indian royal courts, flora and fauna. Indian painters also changed their selection of themes and medium of painting. The eminent Indian painters like Raja Ravi Verma, Abindranath Thakur, Jamini Roy, etc. were greatly influenced by the Western style. This is the image of painter Raja Ravi Verma. Many huge architectural wonders were built in the English style with artistic carvings. The governor of Madras gave the city a colonial look with bungalows and banquet halls to suit the British for official evening functions. In Bombay city, also churches, town halls, railway station, and many other structures were constructed that resembled various buildings in England. The British built town halls after the Renaissance Palazzi style, railway stations in the Gothic cathedral style, government buildings and secretariat offices in the Western style, blended with the traditional Mughal style. The British also influenced the Indian literature. The scholars at the Fort William College in Calcutta translated the ancient texts, wrote grammars, collected manuscripts in England, and compiled dictionaries. The great literary figures like Rabindranath Tagore, Aurobindo Ghosh, Sarojini Naidu, Mulk Raj Anand, R.K. Narayan, etc. were influenced by the English pattern of writing. Thus, designed by Edwin Lutyens and Herbert Baker, British New Delhi is now a small but significant part of the great metropolis of New Delhi, the capital of modern India. This is popularly known as Lutyens Delhi. This is the image of Fort William College, Calcutta. Summing up, the excavation of Indus Valley civilization proved that ancient India had well planned towns and cities. Unfortunately, deurbanization was a significant development during the British rule in India. In 1857, the British laid down the foundation of a systematic policy under Indian police. Railways were introduced in India for the benefit of the British administration's political control and trade. Art, architecture, painting, literature, poetry, drama, novels, and even Indian religion and philosophy were greatly influenced by the Western contact. Thank you, class. Let's meet for the next chapter.